This is the Lowdown on Ridertown with the Cedar Rapids Roughriders and 94.1 KRNA. This is our second season that we've done it here with KRNA. I want to thank the Union Station for once again having us out here. This is every Wednesday night throughout the remainder of this season. 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30 is when we'll do it. Also want to remind you that the podcast of this show will be up weekly, so you can get that at krna.com and the KRNA Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at 94.1 KRNA, and that's on Facebook. Just search for it there. We'll have it posted there and up at our website. Once again, I want to thank you all for coming out. What this show is really about is more than anything, we're going to recap some games. We're going to look at some past game action, and in keeping with Coach's philosophy, we'll look ahead, but only one game at a time, or at least hopefully maybe one opponent at a time at least. But more than that, what this show is really about is for you to get to know this team, the players, the coaches, and this organization a little more. This is your opportunity for kind of a closer face-to-face interaction with these guys, week in and week out. So that's kind of what we want to accomplish here with this show. My name is Chad Cooper. I'm with KRNA. We are obviously primarily a music station, but we pride ourselves on having some sports coverage, especially local, here with our Cedar Rapids teams, and the Roughriders definitely fit that mold. So we want to cover them throughout the season, and that's kind of our way of doing it. And once again, I want to thank everyone who came out, and you can find this online, this podcast, a day or two after we tape this show every Wednesday night. I'm joined here tonight by head coach Mark Carlson. He'll join us basically, I think, every week throughout the rest of the season on this program, but also joined by two players from the Roughriders, Charlie Curdy and Dylan McLaughlin. And thanks, guys, for showing up and making the time for us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach, I'll start with you and start this show off by looking back at some past game action. We look back at the last couple of games. We have a Saturday, January 17th game. That's a 4-1 win over Green Bay. Then last Friday and Saturday, two home games against Youngstown. Unfortunately, two losses for the Roughriders, but puts them at 26-10, 52 points overall, and still good enough for first place in the Eastern Conference and currently the best record in the USHL. Coach, I wondered if I could get your thoughts on this past week's action and the opponents that you faced here in the past weekend.
Sure, Coop. Well, I think we played a real good team last weekend there in Youngstown, and credit them, they played very well, and we're fortunate to have the opportunity to play them again here on Friday night. So we're working on improving our game here this week, and we're excited to play on Friday.
Now, you're sitting currently at the top of the Eastern Conference, top of the USHL. In your mind, what have been some of the keys to that success this year? This team got off to a hot start and has been pretty consistent throughout the season, too.
Well, I think we're not looking too far into the past. We're focused on Friday, and we know that's a real important game for us there. At the same time, we're real proud of the group. We like our guys. We've got real good people off the ice, guys that work hard, and we feel we've got good talent at all three positions. And we want to put the past behind us and focus on what's next, and that's our game here on Friday in Youngstown.
Charlie, I'll start with you as far as on the player side of things. I like, especially when we have somebody on here for the first time, and this is our first official show of the season, to kind of have them give us a rundown of their background and their journey here to Cedar Rapids and to the Roughriders. I wondered if you could kind of give us some of your background as a player.
Sure, yeah. I come from Minnesota, near the Twin Cities, and I played high school there, and after that came down here last year for my first year, and now I'm in my second year here. So.
And what have been some of your thoughts on the organization here since you've come to the Roughriders? Some of your maybe early thoughts here on the organization as a whole and this team?
It's been awesome. Like events like this, connecting with the fans and everything, it's been unbelievable, and they treat us so well. So I'm extremely thankful for sure.
Dylan, I think we were fortunate enough to have you on the show last year, but I wondered if you could kind of run down your journey too and some of your background for maybe people that haven't been here, haven't been real familiar with you.
Yeah, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I grew up playing in Buffalo my whole life. This is my third year now, so I'm familiar with Cedar Rapids. So, yeah.
Being a third-year player on this Roughriders team, does that kind of give you an idea in your mind of kind of being a leader on this squad? You're familiar with the organization, familiar with the team, and also familiar with the city and everything. Did you kind of take on a leadership role, being that you're kind of a veteran on this squad?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we have a bunch of young guys, a bunch of new guys. So, I mean, I think there's only 5 or 6 veteran guys who have been around for a while now. So I guess it helps having us around a little bit, just because we know what we're doing a little bit more.
Charlie, I'll ask you too, along with the organization, what have been some of your thoughts on the atmosphere at games? So we always like to ask players that come on, what do they think of the stable, and especially when you guys are playing at home, what's that atmosphere like?
It's awesome. I mean, you look around the league, we've got definitely one of the best buildings to play in, and we've got electric fans, so it gives you a little bit of an edge, a little bit more motivation to really play hard, and we're really fortunate.
And speaking of the atmosphere, I want to take a real quick brief moment here to remind everybody that a pretty exciting thing that I saw posted at the Roughriders Facebook page today. We've got Craft Hockeyville, and what this is if you want to keep or help bring, I should say, an NHL preseason game to the stable in 2015-2016, all you have to do is just head over to crafthockeyville.com. Once again, that's crafthockeyville.com, all one word lumped together, and vote for the stable, otherwise known as the Cedar Rapids Ice Arena. Now, in addition to the Winning Arena hosting an NHL preseason game, they'll also be broadcast live on the NBC Sports Network and also receive $150,000 in upgrades to the facilities. So keep that in mind. You can vote, once again, at crafthockeyville.com, a pretty neat promotion that's going on, and it'll be pretty cool to see some preseason action inside the stable. We'll continue back here with looking at the players and talking to you guys. What's your favorite aspect or part of playing under Coach Carlson, especially Dylan? You've been under here for 3 years now. When you think of Coach Carlson, what are some things that you've taken away from his coaching?
Oh, I mean, he always just wants the best for us, and he's very passionate about what he does, so I would say that's the best thing for sure.
Charlie, what would you say?
Just day in, day out, he pushes us, and he's not going to lie to you. He's going to be honest with you, and wouldn't have it any other way.
Coach, last year's team, good record, solid foundation. They obviously got to the playoffs. Some of the players obviously returned to this year's squad. Do you think last year's team was a solid foundation for kind of being able to build some success as you head into this season and this year?
Yeah, Coop, I thought last year was probably as good of a learning experience as any player, could have or coach. We had some challenges along the way, from September through, late December. And, due to communication with our players, we were able to straighten, some things out, and had a really, really good second half last year. Really played well and won lots of games, and I just was so proud of that team and the way that they kind of turned things around, and we did make a couple changes and brought some guys in, and the guys that were here continued to improve and really led, and you have to be realistic with things too, and we gave our best there in the playoffs, and we ended up being short 3-4 guys, which when you look back, it was a big deal. You have to find a way no matter what you have, for sure. There's no excuses, but we really liked our team at the end of the year, that's for sure.
And players, I'll ask you guys too, we're coming into the second part of this season, and you guys kind of get a somewhat of at least a game between, or a break, I should say, between game action right around the holidays. Not much, about just over a week. How do you guys utilize that time where you have maybe a longer spans between games or a longer break between games than you're used to over the season? How do you kind of utilize your time, and how do you stay in your routine as a player? Dylan, I'll start with you.
Are you talking about like Christmas break?
Yeah, over the holidays.
Oh, I mean, it was nice to be with family and just regroup for a little bit. And for me, it was nice to put on some more weight. So, I mean, it's always just nice regrouping a little bit with family and friends and all that. And
Charlie, how about you over the holiday break? How do you take advantage of that time?
I mean, anytime you're playing 60 games in a season, it's always nice to get away for a little bit and refocus and obviously see family who you don't see as much nowadays. So it's definitely a good refresher.
I wondered if you guys could kind of take us inside a day in the life of a Roughriders player, especially not only on game day, but also maybe on just an average day in the week for you guys, about what your routine is from sun up to sundown, so to speak. And Dylan, I guess we'll start at the end with you.
For me, I have a part-time job Mondays or Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that goes from 9 to 12. And then I'll go home and I'll make something to eat, and then we all get to the rink around 1-ish. And then I would say practice starts at 2, and then we leave anywhere between 5 and 7, I would say, and then we go back to our billet houses or go to eat with someone on the team or all of that stuff, but that's usually a normal day for us.
And Charlie, how about you? What's your daily routine like?
Pretty similar. Sometimes you'll go to the rink in the morning if you don't have anything like a job or school. Currently, I'm doing school. I take a class at Kirkwood, and after that, usually grab a bite to eat, practice for a few hours, and then afterwards just do whatever, go home, eat, or hang out with the guys.
And Charlie, what is it like, I should say, a lot of players that come obviously have to get used to a new area and also get used to a host family in most cases. What's that been like for you, and what kind of process has that been for you as a player, kind of getting adjusted not only to a new city and a new place, but also a host family?
It's been awesome for me. I mean, going into it, I didn't think it'd be as easy as it was, and fortunately for me, I got into a great family, and they really took me in and made it really easy. I live with the Orrs out in Walford, so it's been great all around.
And I wondered if we could kind of touch on your guys' goals, not only in the game of hockey, but also just outside of that as well, if you have those type of goals as well. Dylan, I'll start with you as far as you look at hockey. I know on the Riders website you have a commitment to Providence right now. What have been some of your goals as far as hockey's concerned, and maybe even outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is, I mean, we all want to play professional hockey after this, and then I'm in college. It's the best of both worlds. We'll get a degree, and we play Division I hockey, so I think those are we all have the same goals, I would say.
And what influenced your decision to attend Providence? What was kind of involved in that decision?
I mean, it was a good school, and the coaches seemed to like me.
And Charlie, what about you as far as your goals in the game of hockey, maybe even outside that?
I mean, yeah, that's for all of us. We're all shooting to play pro hockey somewhere, hopefully the NHL, but as always, you need to have a backup plan. So we're very fortunate that we get to go to school, and sometimes at a lower price than a lot of kids, so we get the opportunity to get a degree and set ourselves up for a nice job, hopefully.
Coach, you kind of had a unique opportunity earlier this month. You were able to coach in the USHL and NHL Top Prospects game. I wonder if you could kind of relay to us what that experience was like and what you took away from that coaching opportunity.
Well, it was a good opportunity for me, and as I've told our team, if it was really due to their play that I had that opportunity, so I thank them for that, and it was a lot of fun, but and it was an honor for sure. But I love being with our team and our guys, and so it was nice to do. But it was nice to get back with our guys and be with them that following Friday.
Now, part of playing in this league is having some long road trips at times. You guys got one coming down to, or going over to Youngstown this next weekend. I wonder, Coach, how do you utilize your time on the road, and also as far as being able to fit practice time in or trying to get some reps in and maybe even scouting teams? How do you spend your time on the road when you kind of have those long breaks in between?
Well, I think with the way things are today with laptops and cell phones and all that kind of stuff, you can get an awful lot of things done on the road. So I enjoy the trips. I think the guys enjoy the trips, and on buses today you've got satellite TV and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun to just have your team together and get out on the road, and it's kind of us against the world type mentality. So it can be a lot of fun.
And you guys as players, what do you take away from a road trip, and what do you enjoy about it? And maybe even if there are challenges, what challenges come with going on the road and trying to keep in your routine? I'll start with Charlie. We'll start with you this time.
It's good. I mean, it's a great bonding experience. Anytime you're in a bus for an extended period of time, you get to do whatever to pass the time. We'll watch movies. We'll play some board games or even card games. So it's definitely a lot of fun, and the bonding leads to better team chemistry.
Dylan, how about you as far as road time and routines on the road?
Yeah, it's nice to be with all the guys for sure on the bus and on the hotel. We get some good meals too on the way. And I mean, the routine, is not much different. We all know, we get a good pregame meal in, drink lots of water. So I don't know if the routine changes too much. We're just on a bus for a little bit longer.
And Dylan, you've been with the Roughriders for an extended period of time, but I wonder if you can remember back what your biggest adjustment was in coming to the USHL and playing in this league. Your adjustment, the biggest thing you had to maybe adjust to as a player.
Yeah, the guys in this league are just way bigger and way stronger than we've all been used to. So I guess that was for sure the biggest adjustment for me.
Charlie, how about you coming into this league?
Yeah, the biggest difference was definitely the speed. I mean, everything happens so much quicker, and in a way, it's helpful that you're playing with a lot better players, and they can do things that you're not normally used to. So they help out a lot. They can catch passes and be in the right spot all the time.
And one of the things that strikes me as kind of unique about playing on this level, especially for kids who are still pretty young, high school age, even early college, is that you get to play in front of some crowds that are pretty large in scale, some pretty large venues, especially related to kids that might still be playing high school sports or even small or college sports. What do you guys take away from the atmospheres you guys play in, and what's it like to play in front of larger crowds, not only at home at the stable, but also on the road? Dylan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's always a great experience every time we play in an arena that has a lot of people in it. I mean, sometimes they'll get rowdy when they score a goal or a big hit or something, but most of the time I feel like most of us are good at blocking them out. But, I mean, it's always exciting for sure.
And Charlie, how about you? What's it like to maybe even play on the road or even at home in front of larger crowds?
I mean, it's definitely exciting. It's kind of what you dream of, playing in front of big crowds, and it definitely teaches you to stay composed and drown things out, and definitely feed off the energy and prepare you for the next level.
And I wonder if that's a kind of a learning curve in and of itself, or it kind of prepares you guys for the next level that you want to get to, playing in front of larger crowds like that.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
And Coach, as far as preparing in time, do you guys have times when you're on the road to be able to fit in a practice, be able to fit in any sort of reps before a game?
Sure, yeah, like tomorrow, we'll leave early tomorrow morning. We're going to stop in Chicago and practice there, and then when we get into Youngstown, evidently they've got a circus there, so I don't think we'll be able to skate in the Cavelli Center on Friday, but we've got another rink we can skate at Friday morning, so we'll do a little bit of work there and then get ready to play Friday.
And how do you guys set that up as far as being able to plan ahead of time? You said you're going to stop in Chicago and practice there, and then had to find an alternate facility in Youngstown to work with. How do you guys plan that out ahead of time?
Well, we just within our staff, Coach Connolly and Lever have got that all squared away, and they usually do a pretty good job with that 99% of the time. I think we had one classic this year. I can't remember what that post game was the one time on the bus. We had some fun with that with one of the assistants. But other than that, they do an unbelievable job.
And guys, what's your feeling about going and seeing different places? Do you have a favorite place that you like to play on the road, or something that you really look forward to when you leave the stable?
I would say most of the arenas are pretty nice. I mean, it seems like most of them get good crowds too. So I mean, I would say it's just exciting going to every place, really.
Charlie, how about you? Is there a place that sticks out, or do you kind of like them overall when you get to go on the road in front of those crowds?
I mean, yeah, everywhere. We're fortunate enough in the USHL to have all these great buildings to play in, and their respective fan bases, so it's definitely interesting every time.
Now, do you guys have a certain player, maybe in the NHL, or somebody you kind of pattern your game off of, or maybe not even that, but to kind of look up to as an NHL player? Dylan, I'll start with you.
I've always liked watching Sidney Crosby play. I mean, some people think he's the best player in the world. I mean, I guess it's easy to look at a guy like that. So, I mean, I've always watched him play, and I've liked it a lot.
Charlie, how about you?
Cam Fowler on the Anaheim Ducks. I really like the way he plays and try to model myself that way.
And Charlie, what really got you at first interested in the game of hockey? How did that come about for you? I know you gave us some of your background earlier, but what first kind of piqued your interest in hockey?
I was kind of just born into it. My dad was a hockey player growing up, so as soon as I could, he put me on skates. So.
Dylan, how about you?
Yeah, same with me. My dad played hockey, and then he got my older brother into it, and then I watched him, and I just fell in love with it after that.
And as far as, I know now you guys are kind of outside world. Charlie, in your case, you're still taking classes at school and whatnot, but Dylan, in your case, you've got a part-time job. How hard is that to juggle your kind of outside commitments outside of hockey and then the game of hockey itself and all the preparation you have to put into that?
No, it's not too hard. It's nice to get that extra money, too, just for gas and whatever. So it's not too hard. I mean, if anything, it's fun. So, yeah, it's good.
Charlie, how about you with juggling classes and also hockey and the preparation you have to put into that?
It's not too bad. I mean, you just learn to manage your time a little more. I mean, I was out of high school last year, so just getting back into the swing of things.
And Coach, part of being in this league and part of being in a role not only as a coach but also a general manager is making some moves. And today, Roughriders made a move, acquired Joe Wegworth from Green Bay. He's a Notre Dame commit, 4th-round draft pick of the NHL's Florida Panthers. I wondered if you could kind of give us some insight in what went into that decision on your end and why you decided to bring him on board.
Sure. Well, we're real excited about Joe. We think he's a real good hockey player and real good person, good teammate. He's got tremendous size and plays the game hard. And we think he's an element that he brings an element that we didn't have a lot of. We certainly have some of it, but I think it's going to be kind of contagious. The way that he plays the game, and I think along with the rest of the guys here, we're going to put a pretty good run together here.
And what goes into that when you make a decision on a player to bring somebody in or to kind of, liven up this team or bring somebody else into the fold? What goes into your thinking, not only as a coach, but also in a general manager role?
Well, I mean, a couple of things in our league is, sometimes you have players that request a trade. Maybe they're not playing enough or, they'd like to do something, different, so those things happen. And sometimes you might make a trade because you might have a player that maybe isn't going to play, a lot in your eyes as a coach, and it might be better for him to go, somewhere else. And then, at times you make trades that where you're looking out for the betterment of your team and all the guys down in your locker room, and the team has an opportunity to win and do some great things. And that was the case here. We just thought that Joe, like I said, he's a big, strong, physical forward, and we thought that we could use that element. And this move here was done, strictly to help our guys win hockey games and to improve our depth.
And how do you go about bringing somebody into the fold like that? Is it kind of an acclimation process, or does a guy get thrown in pretty quickly when you make an acquisition like that?
Well, I think our guys here do a great job of kind of welcoming people and kind of having a team atmosphere and those kinds of things. So throughout all the different things that have happened, over the course of the year, this year, last year, they've done a really good job of welcoming people. And then it's up to those guys. They've got to earn their way, from that point on, but they've done a really good job of welcoming guys.
And Dylan and Charlie, I'll ask you guys, when a new player comes into the fold, what do you think of that as a player? Do you kind of get excited to have somebody new on the team, a new teammate? I'll start with you, Dylan.
Yeah, it's exciting and sad at times when someone leaves, but I mean, mostly it's exciting, and we all seem to welcome them pretty good and pretty easily. We have a bunch of great guys on the team, so I mean, it's exciting.
Charlie, do you look forward to when you kind of get a new person on the team or a new teammate?
Yeah, I agree with Dylan. It's definitely exciting to see what the guy can go out there and do, and hopefully feed off what he can do and what he can bring to the table.
And Coach, we have a few minutes left in the show. I wanted to ask you or kind of get your thoughts on, there's been some talk, at least some articles written about the use of instant replay in the USHL. There's been a couple games where it's been utilized or it's been kind of used here and there. What are your thoughts on that, and what do you kind of see in the future of that in the USHL in this league?
Well, I think Ogie's obviously got a real good shot because they seem to go through the net often. And luckily this year, the game didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. The instant replay was able to catch that. We had a game last year in here where I don't think we had the instant replay set up yet, and Ogie scored a goal. I forget if it was late. It might have been in overtime maybe. And fortunately, we won that game in overtime. Otherwise, that would have been a major issue. So we're actually getting the netting fixed at our rink due to Ogie this week. The nets just came in actually, so they're sitting back in the ZAM area, and so we'll have that. And then the instant replay. I think it's a good thing. Most of the arenas in our league have the ability to do that. I guess the only thing for me as a coach is that if some rinks are going to have it, I think every rink should have it, and that's not the way that it is right now. So I think that would be a nice improvement for us. But I think it's been a good thing for us so far.
And I was going to ask you about that too, but you covered that. But the only other thing I'd want to know is, in other sports, when we hear about instant replay get brought up, maybe the number one detriment that people throw out is affecting the pace of the game. Do you kind of foresee that as being a problem, or has that not really been an issue, at least in your eyes, from utilizing instant replay?
Well, not really. We like to extend the stay at the stable. People buy a few more beverages, buy a little bit more food, have a good old time, play a few more tunes.
Sure, it's a good business model.
Yeah, it works out pretty good.
Well, that's good to know. So we can definitely put it on the record that Coach Carlson is for instant replay all around in every aspect.
There you go.
All right. We'll wrap up tonight by looking ahead, but we'll look one opponent at a time, and that's fitting because we only have one opponent that we have to deal with this weekend, going on the road to face Youngstown, an opponent that you guys are pretty familiar with, just got done playing them. I'll start on your end, Dylan. If you could kind of give us your thoughts on Youngstown as a team, pretty familiar, just saw them in action, and some of the challenges that they present to you guys.
Yeah, they're a really good team. They're fast, they're physical, and I think we're excited to get a little payback on them this weekend.
Charlie, your thoughts, some extra motivation to play Youngstown this coming weekend?
Definitely. They're a real good team. They play a good brand of hockey, and definitely excited to prove what we can, how we've improved over the last week.
And Coach, I'll finish up with you. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but your thoughts on Youngstown as a team and what they present to you guys.
Yeah, I would agree with Dylan and Chuck. They're a real good team, and all the teams in our league are good, and they're right there, and they're playing very, very well right now. Credit them; they did a really nice job against us. Last weekend, we know what we need to improve on. We've got a practice tomorrow. We've got a morning skate Friday, and mentally we've got to be ready because beating anybody in this league, it's a very, very difficult task, and they're on that list.
I want to thank you guys once again for coming out, both you, Coach Carlson, and two players, Charlie and Dylan. Thanks, guys, for making the time to come out tonight.
Yeah, thanks you.
Scoop.
Thanks for having us.
I want to thank everyone for being here as well. A reminder that the Lowdown on Ridertown every Wednesday night here at the Union Station, 6 o'clock, runs from 6 to 6:30. We're going to preview some of the games coming up and look back at some of the past action and also get to know some of these players and the coaches on this team. And also a reminder, once again, that this podcast is up weekly. It'll be up 24 to 48 hours after we get done here. You can find it at KRNA.com and also at our Facebook page. That's 94.1 KRNA on Facebook. Trying to cover the whole social media sphere of things, so it's all up on there. And updates and info on everything, including this team, is up at KRNA.com. And don't forget the Roughriders website as well, RidertownUSA.com. So you can check it there. And don't forget, one final reminder, just in case you guys needed the extra motivation, we will have some raffles and giveaways at times here out at the Union Station, so you can come by and grab some tickets or whatever else the Roughriders giveaways. You can tell with a team that's this good so far this season, tickets pretty hard to come by. And one final reminder about the Kraft Hockeyville promotion that's going on. If you want to bring a preseason game to the stable, you can go on and vote for the stable in the Cedar Rapids Ice Arena at crafthockeyville.com. Thanks again. We'll see you next week for the Lowdown on Ridertown with the Cedar Rapids Roughriders and 94.1 KRNA. Thanks.